The 2025 Formula One season has just exploded again, and this time the shock comes straight from the neon heart of Las Vegas. Norris crossed the finish line calmly behind Verstappen. Piastri secured a strong P4, and the championship gap looked stable and safe. But moments after the world thought the results were settled, the FIA uncovered a stunning breach inside McLaren's garage. And in one brutal decision, both Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were disqualified. The FIA confirmed that both McLaren cars violated the skid block plank regulations, an automatic disqualification, no matter the reason. The discovery has shattered the championship picture, rewritten the standings, and raised one burning question. What really happened behind the scenes, and why did McLaren's secret only surface now? Before we continue deeper into this unbelievable twist, make sure to subscribe because what unfolds next could completely change the outcome of the 2025 World Championship, and you do not want to. The chaos that unfolded in Las Vegas was not just another post-race controversy. It was an earthquake that shook the entire foundation of the 2025 Formula One season. What started as a quiet and controlled evening for McLaren suddenly turned into one of the most dramatic technical breaches in recent F1 history. The FIA's decision to disqualify both Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri was not taken lightly, nor did it come from mere suspicion. It came from a precise, repeated, devastating measurement that exposed something fundamentally wrong with McLaren's setup on a night when they could least afford it. According to the FIA's findings, both McLaren cars violated Article 3, 5.9 of the technical regulations regarding plankwear, arguably one of the strictest and most unforgiving rules in Formula One. The skid block must not wear more than 1 mm from its standard 10 mm thickness. Anything below 9 mm results in immediate and unavoidable disqualification. It doesn't matter whether it's accidental, unintentional, or caused by on-track damage. The FIA treats the rule as absolute. But in this case, the measurements were crystal clear. Norris's plank showed 8.88 mm and 8.93 mm at the designated points. Even in a sport of margins, this was too far outside the limit to ignore. McLaren insisted that the breach was not intentional. Team principal Andrea Stella issued an apology directly to the drivers, explaining that both cars developed unexpected high levels of porpoising during the race. Vibrations so severe that the car
license that would allow him to compete in the biggest Nordschleifer events.
But this explanation raised more questions than answers. How could a team that dominated practice and qualifying suddenly face uncontrollable porpoising during the race? And more importantly, how could the same issue affect both cars equally? That is where the theories begin to multiply. The first and most commonly whispered theory in the paddock is that McLaren pushed their setup lower than they should have. Running a car close to the ground increases downforce and cornering grip, giving a huge performance advantage around a track like the Las Vegas Strip Circuit, which rewards aerodynamic efficiency on long straights and stability through fast kinks. If McLaren gambled by lowering the ride height slightly below what was safe, they may have intended to sit right on the limit. But the unpredictable bumps in Vegas, combined with race fuel depletion, may have pushed them beyond it. In short, McLaren may not have cheated, but they may have taken a risk that backfired. Another theory revolves around the mysterious issues Norris reported late in the race. Many believed he was struggling with fuel management, and indeed, the FIA initially focused on a potential fuel shortage investigation. But when his pace suddenly dropped off,
buying a MotoGP team too,
changed.
so his proper racing passion has always been
due to low fuel load could have accelerated the floor wear significantly. If the plank was already marginal
behind a specialised instructor and racing a Porsche
GPCheating may have been the breaking point. This would explain why both cars crossed the line legally on fuel.
Yeah, of course we did that, and crossed the line with a second place in class, which is great towards the champ.
More technical, but increasingly discussed, is that both cars suffered subtle floor damage.
Formula 1 world champion Max Verstappen spent his weekend off having to prove he...
after the race. Damage to the floor or the mounting points could cause it to move differently under load, increasing the impact on the track surface. But here lies the key issue. The FIA has heard this argument many times. It doesn't matter whether the damage is accidental or not. The car must always be compliant at all times. So, while McLaren offered it as an explanation, the stewards had no choice but to dismiss it. But the most interesting theory of all is the one no one wants to say too loudly, that the Las Vegas track surface may have exposed a weakness in McLaren's suspension setup. The Vegas circuit, with its street surface bumps and cold temperature grip changes,
I can't wait to get racing on such a venue like this. I'm sure it'll be very exciting.
Cars last year. If McLaren's 2025 car was particularly sensitive to these frequencies, it may have bottomed out far more aggressively than expected. This would mean the fault lies not in the drivers, not in the setup gamble, but in a McLaren failed to identify earlier in the weekend. Regardless of the cause,
lost a couple positions, but luckily we managed to keep the car relatively.
Norris held a comfortable 30-point lead over Piastri and a 42-point cushion over Verstappen. The championship seemed to be his. Now that security has evaporated overnight, with both rivals tied on 366 points, only 24 behind Norris, the title fight is wide open. And what makes this situation even more volatile is the psychological impact. Verstappen, a driver who thrives under pressure and chaos, now senses weakness. Piastri, meanwhile, finds himself unexpectedly revived knowing that one strong weekend. And let's not forget the strategic implications. The Qatar weekend includes not only a full Grand Prix, but also the final sprint race of the season. 58 points on the table. Norris can still mathematically seal the championship, but only if he outperforms both Verstappen and Piastri.
Racing exploits are well documented. He'll often race GT cars virtually outside of and during real-world Formula 1 events, including races on the Nord.
With the Vegas results reshuffled, George Russell inherits P2.
The next race will be the Spa 24 hour. I think the one we are all looking most forward to. I think always dreamed of doing, and I'm super excited to do it with this.